Hi guys, in this video I'm doing another Arcane analysis, but this time I will not analyze a scene but a character. So today we're gonna dissect the story of Maddie. We're gonna see how she influenced the story and if her true identity was obvious from the start. So now let's get to it. The first time we see Maddie is when she meets Vi for the first time when she is hangover in the streets. There is a ray of sunshine behind her from the first time we see her and throughout the scene. This is the first time the series has ever featured a character like this. It is even more important because it's her introduction.
Junior Officer Nolan. Maddie.
So when I saw that, I thought this could only lead to two directions. One, to present how the character is good and how it would be awful if they died in really bad circumstances, because it's Arcane. Or two, the series is trying to blind us with a character who physically appears innocent and almost defenseless, but in reality is really dangerous. And they are trying to accentuate this good feeling with the rays of sunshine and the kindness of the character.
Junior Officer Nolan. Maddie. And, it's written on your face.
But because they have never done that before, that's why we have an uneasy feeling about it, and that means the writers are hiding something from us. Now that we know Maddie is a spy, it's the second scenario that occurs. Now, how does it shows? In the scene when Vi looks at her for the first time, she is blinded by the sun, just as it helps Maddie hide her true personality from Vi. Also, she tries to be serious when she presents herself to Vi, but right after she tells her her first name, with no titles, and talks to her in a friendly way. One of her missions is solely to get closer to Vi and befriend her, to keep an eye on her. But Vi is not easy to approach right now, especially not by some random enforcers.
So what is it? Random search? Escort off the property? Or are you just here to waste my time?
But Maddie touches a nerve when she mentions Caitlyn to Vi. That's when she starts to consider and listen to what Maddie is saying.
Caitlyn made quite a scene at the station when they tried to deny your enlistment.
Kate said all that?
And the best part of this scene is when Maddie starts to speak about the sheriff and says,
After the sheriff betrayed us, let's just say, it's nice to know there's still good ones left.
Now that we know who she is, the fact that it's her who says that, the contradiction is just so good. And the fact that at the same time she extends her hand to Vi for her to shake, but she also hides her second hand behind her back. Yes, this second hand can embody her enforcer pose, but she doesn't want to be like that with Vi right now. When we place one hand behind our back, it means that we may be hiding something from the person we are facing. So in this scene, that can also clearly mean that Maddie is lying to Vi right now. So this was her introduction. Now we arrive at the commander nomination scene.
Of course, I could only be referring to Caitlyn Kiraman.
There, Caitlyn seems lost and shocked when she is nominated. None of her current allies are there to guide her. There is no Vi or Jace or Mel, not even her dad is there. So she turns to the ones she trusts the most right now, the team that was with her on the last mission. Right there, Maddie needs to act as surprised as her about the announcement. And then she has to encourage Caitlyn and show her that she trusts her to fill this new role and that she is ready for it. Between the end of the mission and this reunion, Caitlyn had to explain to her team that Vi didn't come back with her. And with that information in hand, Maddie let Mbessa know about it and also what Vi means to Caitlyn. That's when Mbessa decided to nominate Caitlyn. With Vi gone, Caitlyn is finally ready and in the right state of mind to take over as commander and allow herself to be manipulated by Mbessa because of her blinding anger. From now on, Maddie's role will change and be even more important for Mbessa. With her, she will be able to keep an eye on Caitlyn all the time. Now let's move on to the bed scene. Yes, I know it hurts me too every time I watch it. I kind of jump scared when I saw Maddie there for the first time. But if we have such a strong reaction to this scene, it's because the writers did something right. We never thought we'd see an intimate scene between Caitlyn and a woman other than Vi before a Caitlyn and Vi intimate scene. We'd all rather see Vi there than Maddie. So this scene is not easy to watch, but it's really important to Maddie's role in Mbessa's plan. There, we can tell that Caitlyn is lost and depressed by her facial expression, but also by the state of her room. The side of the room she's facing looks clean and organized, but the side behind her is a mess with all the things everywhere. This represents what's on her mind right now. Everything that isn't working out the way she wants it to, and the manipulation she is currently experiencing. And that's the side where Maddie is.
Up again? The city's not going anywhere.
The scene is perfect to begin the dialogue the way it did, because not seeing Maddie at first creates the doubt for the viewers, and it also represents the voice of Maddie that is always on Caitlyn's shoulder. She is always there speaking in her ear, in her head. And she is now the closest person to Caitlyn, the one she can trust the most at the moment. But right from the start we know that Caitlyn is sleeping with Maddie simply to cope with losing Vi, and that there are no feelings attached to it. This is evident by the way she became stiff and surprised when she first heard Maddie's voice. She raised her shoulder and exhaled loudly afterwards. In their conversation, Maddie reassures Caitlyn when she has doubts. She does it with her words but also with her physical touch, always being loving and positive in her approach. But every time Maddie tries to start a more intimate contact, Caitlyn just brushes it away because she doesn't care about Maddie. She has no feelings for her at all. She doesn't even look at her more than a few seconds during the entire conversation.
You could call it off. Withdraw from the underground. Re-establish the council. All you have to do is give the order.
The manipulation begins to work when Maddie suggests to Caitlyn to call off Mbessa and to take back control of all the operations in the city. But why would an Mbessa spy suggest such a thing? No, Maddie hasn't switched sides. She's just telling Caitlyn that to see her reaction and gauge if a betrayal is about to happen. And when Caitlyn thinks about it, she knows she can't do that because she needs Mbessa.
She delivered us Zorn, as she vowed. Without her, who knows how many enforcers we'd have lost. I've learned so much from her.
So Maddie manipulates Caitlyn into believing that she came to this conclusion on her own and that she can't do anything without Mbessa. She also ensures that Caitlyn's anger toward Jinx, which fuels her revenge, is still present.
Not without Jinx.
In other words, that she's still manipulable. Now let's move on to the next conversation between the two. It's the next morning where they talked about a recent event in Zon that could lead to Jinx. Maddie, being a spy, is very good at gathering information, and she uses this skill with Caitlyn in her investigation on Jinx by raising important points. Like that, she shows Caitlyn that she is useful and that what she says can be relevant and accurate.
It's hers. I'd recognize it anywhere.
That's where the similarities end. No body count, no theatrics.
This is the best way for her to gain Caitlyn's trust by helping her get revenge, as it is her top priority and that she also values intelligence. So just like that, Caitlyn will listen to her more next time she will give her opinion on things.
This doesn't have to change what we talked about this morning. You can still...
She always reminds Caitlyn that she's the one in control, that she's the one who decides, just like Mbessa tells her to.
The decision is yours, Commander.
And when Mbessa asks Maddie to leave the room, she then warns Caitlyn not to mix work and personal life.
I suppose I don't need to advise you on the hazards of professional entanglement.
This isn't just innocent advice, it's also meant to gauge how much her relationship with Maddie is currently affecting her decisions. And also, maybe Mbessa telling her not to do it will encourage her to do it even more, because at least she can do what she wants in her private life. Now, interesting fact, this scene is the first time we get a glimpse of Maddie's true identity, but it's very subtle. When she leaves the room, she kind of nods to Mbessa, but it's not really clear. But if we look closely, we can see that she is giving the Noxian salute to Mbessa by raising her arm like this. I never saw it the first time, but now I don't see what else it could be. The next scene is when Caitlyn visits her mother's statue. There she tries to collect herself and get over her grief. But when she exchanges a look with Maddie, that means she will still do anything to avenge her death. She is unable to forgive Jinx for what she did and move on. She can't accept Maddie's plan and stop. And Maddie looks at the ground like she is hurt by that and also feels sorry for Caitlyn. She's playing her role really well and she knows that Caitlyn is still on their side. But then Caitlyn's expression changes, as if she's wondering what more she needs to do to achieve her goal. Is it really her? Also, the fact that she's wearing her cloak would look like she's the one in charge right now. But this scene is interspersed by an interrogation led by Mbessa. One of the things Caitlyn really didn't want to do was use violence against innocents. So right there in her commander's outfit, she is the least in control of the situation she has ever been. Now let's move on to the next scene. This one is when Maddie and Caitlyn are having a conversation before Vi rushes into the room after her recovery. There, Maddie tries to stay positive about the situation and comfort Caitlyn like she used to, but Caitlyn doesn't want it. Now that Vi is back, she doesn't want anything from Maddie anymore. She even rejects her when she tries to touch her.
I saw it in her eyes. She will burn Piltover to the ground for my betrayal.
You can't blame yourself.
I don't need consolation. I need a plan.
Now Caitlyn just wants to know how to stop Mbessa. She is no longer manipulable. With that, Maddie will just listen to Caitlyn and do what she wants to keep her character, so she won't suspect anything. There is also another clue about Maddie's true identity in this scene. It's when she leaves the room, she makes sure Caitlyn and Vi hear the door click and opens it right after. This way they don't know that the door is still open and that Maddie is listening to their conversation. Yes, Maddie could have just spied on them to check Vi, since she's closer to Caitlyn right now and knows how they used to feel about each other, but now that we know she's with the Noxians, this clue is so obvious that she's spying on them for the enemy. She looks more like a soldier on a mission than a jealous girlfriend. And that brings us to the scene of the final battle. In this last scene, Maddie plays her role perfectly as she should. She follows Caitlyn everywhere and obeys all her commands. The fact that Maddie is the one who stands by Caitlyn's side throughout the mission shows that she still trusts her completely and will never see a betrayal coming from her. So Maddie follows her plan until there is an opening, and that's when the bomb doesn't explode because it was sabotage. And who was responsible for the bomb before planting it? Maddie. That's where everything starts to go down for Caitlyn. After she gets hit and falls to the ground, we can barely see the figure hitting her, but if we pause, it looks like Maddie with this unique mask and hairstyle. When Caitlyn opens her eyes, she is stunned by the betrayal. She never thought Maddie would do this. But when Maddie gives the Noxian salute to Mbessa, Caitlyn realizes she never betrayed her because Maddie has never been on her side from the beginning. And the fact that Mbessa reiterates that she had warned her against mixing work and personal life confirms that this fake relationship was part of her plan from the start.
I warned you of the hazards of professional entanglement.
And if you wanted to know if Maddie just looked weak or if it was just an act, we got our answers when Caitlyn disarmed her and broke her nose that easily. So Maddie is really just a spy, and that's why she was so good at appearing harmless. Now for her last words, she says,
I did appreciate your warmth.
That just sounds so fake. It just adds to the character's audacity and the fact that a weak character like her is about to kill a powerful character like Caitlyn. She didn't appreciate her warmth. What she did appreciate was playing with Caitlyn behind her back and getting what she wanted because she could never beat her one-on-one. Another important thing, I'm not completely sure, but I'm positive that her accent is not the same when she says those words.
No body count, no theatrics. I think we've made them desperate for something to believe in. I did appreciate your warmth.
I think she even changed her accent to be even closer to what Caitlyn would trust as a person. And when Maddie shoots to kill Caitlyn, we see in one frame that she is smiling and aiming at Caitlyn's neck. This shows how much she hated Caitlyn and how long she waited to kill her. The fact that she aimed for the neck instead of the head represents how horrible Maddie is and how much she wanted Caitlyn to suffer, because a bullet in that area is extremely more painful than a bullet to the head. Ultimately, I think Maddie's death is appropriate for her and comes just at the right time. And I really appreciate that the writers chose to sacrifice a character as horrible as her just to showcase Mel's new powers. This is a good ending for a bad character and everyone is really happy about it. So that was my analysis of the character Maddie from Arcane Season 2. Let me know if you liked it and if you want more videos like this or about other scenes. Check out my other analysis of Arcane and Kate Vi, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. Merci tout le monde et on se revoit dans la prochaine vidéo. Bye bye!